Welcome to the Peace and Possibilities podcast. This is Julie Bruns, and you are about to be inspired. I am so excited to share my conversations with amazing people from all walks of life who figured out how to be happy, peaceful, and content doing work they love and making the world a better place so that you can see what's possible for your life. I can't wait to hear what you think. Send me an email and let me know one thing you're taking away from this episode. And never forget, anything really is possible. Welcome, everyone. I'm with Oscar Garcia, and Oscar and I met at a conference that I attended in Columbus, Ohio. And Oscar it was a NACE conference, and there's people that are listening to it won't necessarily know what that is, but it's a conference for colleges and employers. And Oscar was the closing address. And I loved it. It was my favorite presentation of the conference. I think I told you that in person. And also, sometimes it just depends on who they're going to have speak when. They need obviously a strong speaker for both sides. But, not everyone always stays around to the end. And I'm one of those stay to the end because I love learning. And you just never know what you're going to learn at the very end. And I'm so glad I did because it was awesome. And I learned great things. And I shared a lot of what I learned with my team. We had a retreat the following week. And they wanted to do a follow up on what we learned in professional development. So I shared what I learned with you, and I appreciated it, and it was great. It's great content, and it was awesome. I loved your energy, and that's why you're here today, because I want people to see what's possible if you just believe and keep going, which is what you did in your life. So congratulations and welcome.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. And I remember after the conference, you came up to me, you introduced yourself, and you made the comment that you just shared right now of how you were thinking of potentially maybe leaving, not sticking around through the full conference, and that you were glad that you did. And thank you for that kind comment and your positive affirmation. Appreciate it. And I'm happy to be here on your show. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited to talk to you. So I know about your background because you shared it in your presentation, but for my audience and people that don't know who you are, so what do you do now, and what did you see yourself doing as a career when you were a young student, growing up in college, et cetera, business world? What did you see yourself doing? Is it the career you have now, and how did you figure that out?
Yeah, so what do I do today? So what I do today is I empower others so opportunities come to them. How I do that is I have my own company, a Speeda consulting company, where I provide culturally relevant career and professional development training, specifically for first-generation students or first-generation professionals. I myself am a first-generation professional, and no, I absolutely did not see myself doing what it is that I do today. Instead, the way I've approached my career, the way I've approached my entrepreneurial journey is, imagine going grocery shopping and you just know you're going to make some food. You might have some idea what kind of food, right? You're going to cook meals, you're going to cook, but at least for me, I'm not a cook, so therefore I just go buy some stuff, and then once I have the ingredients, I open up the fridge, the cupboards, and I start thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I can make this meal because I see this ingredient. And that's how I approach my life, Julie, my career life, in that every opportunity, I've maximized that opportunity. Like you, I'm a learner. And now almost 30 years in the workforce, I have so much experience over that time that I've been able to piece together today a Speeda Consulting.
That's awesome. Did you, when you were creating your own company and working and kind of like going like this along your journey and figuring out landing you here, what were you doing along the way to figure out what you needed to do and wanted to do? And then what were you doing to remain peaceful and happy and content along the way as you with your positive attitude and with all the good things you bring to your spirit, who you are? How did you do all that while you were trying to figure it out and get where you are now?
Sure. So my career journey, to give people some more insight, is I've grown up in the San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley, tech capital of the world, And like many people in Silicon Valley, I got the tech bug, and I ended up, after graduating from college, eventually worked in the tech industry for startups for about 12 years, about 5 different startups, sales roles, variety of sales roles. After about 12 years and getting sick and tired of every year and a half getting laid off, I made a career transition, and I applied for and I got hired as the chamber CEO with, and if you recall, I shared the story that I had zero experience, didn't even know what a chamber of commerce did. And I got hired, worked there in the chamber for almost 7 years. And again, I felt like I wanted to change. I left the chamber, did a 1 year interim consulting contract role at LinkedIn doing community relations work. And it was during that time that my business idea further solidified, and I launched Aspida Consulting. But in terms of like, what did I do to content and so forth? One of the things that I've realized over the years about myself is I love being in the creative phase of things. And that's part of the reason why I actually, despite the volatility with startups, I actually enjoyed working in startups, because there's a lot of change that happens. You try something and it doesn't work most of the time, so you go try something else. Some people don't like that. They're like, wait a minute. I mean, I'm barely getting to know how to like do this, and now we got to change gears. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm happy. Let's try something different. The other thing too, on a personal level, is that as a first generation professional, we have to overcome so many obstacles, so many hoops that other people don't. And I have learned in my life how to turn crap into fertilizer, because that's what fertilizer is. It's crap.
Yeah.
And I realized too that we have a choice, because we all go through crap in life.
Yeah.
How we react to those challenges in life is our choice. And so part of also what happened is that after I graduated from college, I embarked in a personal growth and development journey of really working on myself, strengthening my self-image, believing in myself. It's taken me, first of all, it's a never-ending journey.
Yes.
Okay. And it's taken me a long time. So that experience and that personal growth and development journey that I've been on for a long time has helped me weather the storms and be positive.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. It's like you're always on a journey. You're always learning and growing, but if your attitude doesn't stay the same, and you don't take advantage of your strengths and how you approach things and your growth mindset and all that good stuff, it's not going to be, you're not going to take the lessons when they come. You're not going to have the right attitude. You're not going to turn a negative into positive, or crap into fertilizer, or whatever it is. You're not going to be able to do any of that along the way. And there's always going to be those things happening along the way. So it really is, how are you going to react to what's happening? There's going to be stuff that happens. That's really all you can control. You can't control the stuff that's happening to you in some degree once in a while, but for the most part, no, it's all about how you react to it. And which is why I do this podcast. It's like, because everyone's going to have different reactions. It's like, what are you doing? What did you do to get you where you want to be and to keep you happy? And you're a shining example of that. And it's great feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So what, you probably get asked this a lot, because I know you do these speeches, and I'm sure you train students and young professionals, all ages, of course, and you probably get asked a lot for advice, I'm guessing. What career advice do you give people that are asking you to have a meaningful career? I want to do what you do, or I don't even want to do what you do, but I don't know what I want to do, and you love what you do, and I can't figure it out. What do you tell those people?
I tell people to taste opportunities. This is what I mean. I'm a picky eater, and when I go to a buffet, what I do is I scope out what is being served, because obviously I want to make sure that at least there's something there that I like and I'm going to eat. And then the rest of the food, do what our parents told us when we were kids. Don't say you don't like something until you taste it.
Yeah.
And so take that same approach with your career journey. Taste opportunities. Sometimes, in fact, probably most of the time, you're going to realize you don't like doing that anymore. So you don't do it. Or you might be pleasantly surprised and try something new, and you're like, Wow, I actually like it.
Yeah.
Yes, it might be challenging, et cetera, and so on, but I like it. And Julie, that's exactly what happened to me about 2 months before my contract ended at LinkedIn. A good friend of mine now, a librarian, sent an email looking for an employee from LinkedIn to go do a basic LinkedIn workshop for free. It was
Yeah.
going to be at 7 p.m. at night. I couldn't get anyone to go do it. And me being the type of person, I love helping people. I'm like, hey, I can't get anyone, but if you want, I'll go do it. Full
Yeah.
disclosure, never done it. We
Yeah.
have this generic deck. Anyone can download it. And I went and did it. The audience loved it. The librarian, my friend loved it. And I also enjoyed it. And that was the start of my training. But
Yeah.
if I wouldn't have gone out there and tasted that opportunity, you and I would not be doing this podcast right now.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy that you can usually narrow it down to one or two things that happen? And you could say it's really not that simple, but sometimes it is. If that one person didn't ask you, or you weren't in that role at LinkedIn, and that one person didn't have that question for you, they asked somebody else at LinkedIn, you would
Yes.
never, you wouldn't be where you are. I think you probably would have found your way here. It just would have been a different path, instead of this path A, it would have been path B or path C.
Yeah.
Who knows when that would have happened. But you're right. You just say yes. I think that what do they say? Half the success in life is just showing up and coming here and saying, and like you said, full disclosure, listen, this is not something I normally do, but I'm willing to do it. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, no one's going to be holding you to a standard that wasn't fair because you just let everyone know. I tell people that a lot. Like, just go for it and try it. Like, what you're gonna, so what, when you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Try something else, taste it, you'll see, and then you can have something else.
Yeah, and you know what? I 100% agree with what you just said, and I want to add something to those professionals that are 40 and older. I'm 53 years old, folks. Yes, I am damn proud to tell you how old I am. That face cream is working on my crow's feet, okay? But here's the scoop. For most 40-plus-year-olds, we get set in our ways, and then we start using excuses like, I'm not techie, I don't know how to do this, or I'm overqualified, or I'm like, pick all the excuses under the rainbow, folks. You don't need 10 excuses. You just need one to stay stagnant.
Yeah.
But here's what I tell you, 40-plus-year-olds, is this is our second half. We just went into the locker room. Yes, we got beat up. Yes, maybe we went through a divorce. Yes, maybe we lost both our parents within 4 months of each other. Yes, maybe, you made some stupid decisions, okay, and got yourself into whatever. But it's the second half. It's about to start. Go in there, recharge, recalibrate, re-energize. Some of us maybe need to stop hanging out with some of our go nowhere Saturday wine buddies and change our sphere of influence and go out there and just kick butt again. Because like I told you, you heard me say this, Julie, in the conference, I'm going to live to 150 years old. And even if I don't, my attitude is as if I'm going to live to 150 years old.
Yeah, I think that's fabulous advice. You said, I wrote it down, change your sphere of influence. So you're not getting what you want. It's probably because you're either thinking the same way you always thought, tasting the same thing you always tasted, or spending time with the same people that aren't getting where you want to go. Seek new opportunities, seek new people, and get new experiences. Yeah, you need to. I totally agree with you. People say, "Oh, I'm too old." Well, then you're not going to have what you want, or you're not going to be able to do the thing you want. If that's going to be your excuse, and my thing is, if you want to keep holding on to them, just don't. May I have the excuse and then stop complaining about it. Just say, I'm not going to give any excuses. I don't want it bad enough, or I would have changed something. So I'm going to stop.
Exactly.
Just stop talking about it.
Exactly.
I can't. There's tons of proof, which is why I do this podcast. There's tons of proof of people that have done it at all ages. I've interviewed 80-year-olds. I've interviewed 18-year-olds. And everyone, there's an example of it somewhere. And if you can't find it, you're not looking hard enough. And if you want to use that excuse, that's fine. But you're going to have not as great a life, and that's no one's fault. Stop complaining about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen. Exactly. Okay. Is there anything you wish you'd learned earlier in your life or career?
There's one thing. First of all, I don't like going back and be like, what could you have done? Because honestly, I can't change the past.
That's why I phrase it that way. Instead of a regret, like if you were just like, there's a couple things where I'm like, it's positive stuff. I'm like, I wish I knew that sooner.
Yes. So here's what I wish I would have done sooner is believe in myself sooner. because I feel that when we believe in ourselves, we have more confidence. We're willing to take more risks. And I don't mean being silly, careless risks. I'm talking about, those calculated risk opportunities where I go after them to maybe raise your hand in that meeting with the boss or the team and share your views, your opinion, your ideas, all these things that we could have done. Maybe, taking that course or whatever it is, maybe started that business, whatever, ask for more money at your company. That's one thing that I wish. And if there's one thing that through my trainings, yes, I do career development training, et cetera, and so forth. But really, if you really peel back the message that I really give people, because as you've heard me, I share a lot of my own trials and tribulations, is I really try to get people to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, I'm coaching college students now, and it's the same thing. Like they'll just come to the table with this, "Well, I only have." I'm like, "Only? You have this degree that are you kidding me? That not anyone can attend this school, not anyone can have this degree. What did you do while you're doing? You worked here, you volunteered, you were in this club, you were this sport." It's like, no, not only. Start telling a different story, like you were talking about in your speech, and start believing in yourself and going into the conversation with, like, instead of what you're lacking, what you have.
Yeah.
And just change it around, because you do have a lot. And I think especially young college students that are just graduating, they think, "I only have this degree." I'm like, no, you have a degree that not a lot of people can get in engineering, something that's not an easy thing to get. So yeah, start owning it and believing in yourself. I think it's a great lesson. It's a totally one I wish I would have learned a lot earlier. Instead, it was just like, I always thought I was learning more initially I was learning more because I thought I needed to know more instead of just being more of who I was. I need to get more knowledge, So no, just be more of who you are. Now you know enough. Now it's time for you to just share what you've learned and incorporate it. Yeah, it's great advice. What's the one gift you offer the world every day? You have to brag a little bit.
I actually talked about a few things recently on a post on LinkedIn. It's the gift of seeing people where they can be. What I mean by that is, when I meet someone, I look at them, if there's a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being tops, 0 being, not, I look at people as a 10. And when I speak to them, I listen to their story, their experiences. It's like I look at them at where they can be instead of where they are right now, or even less. And that, I think, basically what it is I believe in other people more than they believe in themselves. And not very many people do that. Yeah. Many of us, we're just naturally selfish human beings. And we think about ourselves, we think about our needs before we think of the needs of other people. And over the years, what I've learned is to lead with my heart, to give unconditionally, and to believe in that person more than they believe in themselves. Part of it because there's been some people that believe in me before I believed in myself, and it helped me. Yeah. That's my gift.
I love that. And it's an easy thing to do, and it has it's very impactful. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people will just say, like, because I think they're either taught that way or they're comparing themselves to other people, which is a bad thing to be doing, whether you're younger or in the middle of your career or at the end, it doesn't matter. Comparing yourself never makes you feel any better, instead of just thinking about what you bring to the table and what you offer. And if you can do that earlier, you can be further along. Or this is what I'm trying to tell people now too. It's like you get the lessons earlier. You get to have all of the impact and all of the good stuff that goes along with it for a lot longer. You start doing the work and you're 30 or 40. You miss out on like 10 or 20 years. You could have been enjoying all of the good stuff from all the good work that we're doing. So, like, learn those things now And
Yes.
you're going to go farther, and you'll be happier for longer too. You
Yes.
can live a good life when you're doing the things you want to do because you believed in yourself and you took the risks and you went out there and did it, and then you get to reap the rewards. So that's
Yes.
what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Okay. So one final question for you. What's one new thing you're taking away from our conversation today?
One new thing that I'm taking away is that we attract people that match our energy or our um, ambition level. And here's an example, Julie, you and I mean, prior to the conference, in fact, unless you wouldn't have come up and introduced myself, there's no way I don't think that you and I ever would have met, because I mean, there was a bunch of people there in that room, but it's a testament to that energy that we put out, the message that we put out, our sharing our vulnerability that attracts similar people to us. And so, like, I look at you and the little time that I've met, one, my impressions of you is someone that is constantly looking to improve, better themselves, someone who is looking to give back to other people knowledge, experience, someone that is looking to uplift and help other people. And then, of course, also, I mean, I see, the book Peace, someone that loves being at peace with themselves. And you probably also want to bring that harmony and peace to other people. So this, my friend, is what I get out of our interaction here.
I love that. And me too. I that's why I reach out, and I've been telling my kids this forever. And I tell anyone who will listen, people on my podcast, you just never know who you're going to meet. You never know what experience you're going to have. I think one thing major I wish I would have learned earlier is to just kind of let go of things, let them unfold the way they're supposed to unfold. So you get an inkling to do something, do that thing, or you're supposed to hold back or wait or whatever it is. If something didn't work out in your favor, something new could be coming from that thing that didn't work out in your favor. So that's why I love, like, it's, I used to be like, oh, plans change, or I couldn't do this. I thought it was going to go a certain way. I don't let that bother me anymore, because I'm like, all right, and then that means I'm supposed to meet someone different. I'm supposed to be there at a different time, which means I'm supposed to connect with someone I've never seen. Like, when you look at it that way, and everything's an opportunity and a possibility, instead of just like, I missed out on something, it makes it, first of all, it makes it more fun. But then it's like, then you get to have experiences like we're having now, which is meeting people unexpectedly and connecting with people unexpectedly, and then just being excited and helping each other, and then seeing what else can unfold from it. So I love that was what you saw, and that's what you are remembering, because that's what I remember about you too. Like, you just never know who you're going to meet, and when you feel that inkling or that urge to do or say something or ask a question, you should not hold back. Right. That's why I walked right up to you at the end. I'm like, you're busy. And a lot of people are saying, like, I'm just going to say this, and then you'll get an email from me. And that's what I did, and I also think that's a big lesson too. Do what you say you're going to do.
Yes.
And I knew that right away. I'm like, I'm going to send one. And immediately I said, probably the next day, but, you just never know who you're going to meet or what. And I could have just said one thing and not even asked you about the podcast, and just hearing my comment would have touched your heart and then gotten you different energy and meeting someone different. So you just never know. And that's what I love about what's possible. And that's why I named my book Peace, Possibilities, and Perspective, because you just don't know.
You just don't know. And sometimes, Julie, what I have found, at least for me personally, is in those moments when we don't want to do something, yet we still do it, that we sometimes receive some of our greatest blessings.
Yeah, I love that too. I love that. That's a great note to end on. Sometimes we receive some of our greatest blessings. You just never know. Well, thank you, Oscar. How can people get a hold of you and your work? And is LinkedIn the best place, or?
So absolutely. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. Look me up, Oscar Garcia, Aspida Consulting. That's ASPIRA Consulting. Or you can visit us on our website too, the same, aspidaconsulting.com. And Billy, thank you. Thank you for having me as a guest. As I mentioned before, I love the work that you do, the way you're touching other people's lives and helping them improve their lives. So thank you for having me.
Right back at you. Keep doing the work you're doing. And I know this will not be the last time we talk. I'm so happy to be connected to you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. I hope you loved this episode. Don't forget to like us, subscribe, review, and share it. I hope you were truly inspired. And for a little more inspiration, don't forget to pick up my book, Peace, Possibilities, and Perspective: 8 Secrets to Serenity and Satisfaction in Your Life and Career. I can't wait to get you love in your life.